Today we are going to take a closer look at Wayru, a project that aims to provide internet coverage by deploying Wi-Fi access points around the world that then reward the hotspot owner with WRU tokens on the Algorand blockchain, and that is about to launch its mainnet in early 2023. Most importantly, we are going to cover how you could participate in the project and if it's worth it or not. But before we get to that, as always, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way. Everything I share in this video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions and make your own decisions. My name is Rauchenwald and Wayru is by far not the first project I reviewed on this channel that plans to reward users for running specific hardware to provide network coverage of some kind. What makes Wayru different from projects like, for example, Helium Network is that Wayru is not aiming to come up with some new kind of network or coverage only for specific types of devices, but that their goal is to create a global Wi-Fi network that offers affordable internet access to everyone, even in remote locations. And that is probably also the biggest challenge that the project has to face, because Wayru's Genesis hotspots, which we'll talk about more later in this video, also require an active internet connection that is then used to provide internet access via Wi-Fi to Wayru users. And as you can imagine, many remote locations and smaller villages might not have that in the first place. Now, Wayru also addresses this issue by mentioning that they will offer something called ISP in a box to basically provide interested entrepreneurs with the right tools to launch their own ISP business in such areas. But it's hard to say how attractive that package will be and how many remote locations will actually get connected to the internet thanks to it in the future. And while that is one of the challenges that Wayru faces, that however doesn't mean that the project can succeed in offering affordable internet access through Wi-Fi in many other areas. But before we talk more about the pros and cons of Wayru itself, let's cover how exactly Wayru works. In other words, how you can earn crypto with Wayru. People that want to access the internet through one of Wayru's hotspots either have to pay for access using Wayru's WRU tokens, which they can either buy or receive in exchange for watching paid ads on their device. And hotspot operators, on the other hand, receive WRU tokens when users actively connect to their Wayru Genesis hotspot, depending on the amount of data that gets transferred, and additionally simply for keeping their hotspot online, so based on the hotspot's uptime. Since Wayru hasn't launched their mainnet yet, it's however hard to say how much one WRU token will be worth and how many you could earn with one hotspot alone. Besides that, Wayru also offers so-called hotspot pools that users can invest in by buying and staking hotspot pool tokens to then receive rewards based on the performance of all the hotspots in a specific pool. Those hotspot pools consist of a minimum of 1,000 hotspots each that are set up by the Wayru team. Whatever revenue is then generated by all the hotspots in a pool is then first used to cover the operating expenses, which Wayru estimates to be around 40%, and the remaining estimated 60% are then split between Wayru and the people that hold pool tokens in that specific pool. Wayru in that case receives 1/3 of the profit, while the remaining 2/3 are then distributed among the pool token holders, depending on the number of pool tokens each individual holds. As far as the actual hotspots go, right now 1,000 of Wayru's first generation access points called Genesis are on pre-sale for $200 plus up to $40 in shipping fees for international orders, while pool tokens can be bought for only $50 each. For hotspot orders, it's worth mentioning that Wayru also states that to become a hotspot operator, you also have to stake $200 worth of WRU tokens, bringing the total investment up to $400 plus shipping. Although users that participate in the testnet scheduled for the fourth quarter of 2022 will receive some WRU tokens airdropped at the launch of the mainnet and will therefore not need to invest as much anymore to get the required $200 $200 worth of WRU tokens. Now, before you go, however, and spend anywhere from $50 to $240 on Wayru, we should also talk about how promising Wayru's vision is and how likely it is that you'll make your money back in a reasonable amount of time. Sure, Wayru's idea is great, and with their first deployment of hotspots in Montesinos in Ecuador, they already provided proof of concept and showed that their offer has merit and potential, but it's worth noting that this installation right now does not involve WRU tokens, but that users there right now can gain access to the Wi-Fi network in exchange for watching ads on their devices alone. And while that's great, not only because Wayru provides up to 15,000 people in that area with reliable Wi-Fi coverage, it does not automatically mean that ordering a Genesis hotspot and running it in your home will be profitable for you or necessarily a benefit for the Wayru network itself. Personally, I ordered one of the hotspots and also bought one pool token already, but I have to admit that I only ordered the hotspot because it will allow me to record more videos about the project down the road. If it weren't for that, I probably just would have bought the pool token or maybe a few more pool tokens instead. That's not because I don't believe that Wayru has potential, but simply because I currently live in a small village with around 9,000 people in Germany, and I highly doubt that there is even going to be a single person in that village besides me that will operate a hotspot. Which in turn means that there likely won't be any coverage for Wayru's network anywhere besides the front of our house, and as such there most likely won't be any customers in this area signing up for Wayru to use the Wi-Fi in the first place. That does not mean that one cannot make money with Wayru or that the project has no future, but simply that just like with Helium Network and similar projects, you have to consider your location and the current coverage of the network before you decide to drop the $200 to get your own Genesis hotspot. On the other hand, if your area right now doesn't seem to have a lot of potential for deploying a hotspot yourself, you can always consider getting one or more hotspot pool tokens for $50 each and instead stake them in a hotspot pool deployed by Wayru and earn WRU tokens passively this way. Not only would your investment in this case be 75% lower, but instead of just earning from your hotspot alone, you would get a cut from an entire pool of hotspots that is deployed in an area the Wayru team considers worth the effort. That obviously also doesn't guarantee that you will receive a decent return on your investment or that you'll make your money back at all, but at least to me appears to be the more attractive option for everyone living outside of Latin America, so in areas where Wayru isn't actively working on growing their network right now. As an additional upside, your pool token purchase also helps fund the deployment of more hotspots and as such makes internet in several locations in Latin America more affordable and available as well. Overall, I think that Wayru's idea is quite interesting and solves a problem that exists in some areas of the world. Based on that, I believe that Wayru will have at least some success, at least within Latin America, but I doubt that Wayru will achieve reasonable Wi-Fi coverage in other parts of the world anytime soon. Initially, the biggest challenge in that aspect will, in my opinion, either be to create enough interest and get enough people around the world to invest into their own Genesis hotspot for $200, or the opposite, to actually produce and deliver an incredible number of devices within a reasonable amount of time. Especially right now, with only 1,000 hotspots available for sale, the coverage provided by those 1,000 devices will likely be spread around the world, with only a few areas with better coverage overall outside of any hotspot pools Wayru launches on its own. Anyways, I'm looking forward to get our Genesis hotspot that I can just set up and in theory more or less forget, and that will earn us crypto passively while using almost no electricity. With that, I'm gonna end today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any questions, make sure to join our Discord community and discuss Wayru and other projects with me and the community there, or check the community tab of my YouTube channel and visit one of my weekly Let's Talk About live streams to get your answers there. See you in one of my other videos. Till then, bye bye.